Good afternoon, viewers. I welcome you to this webinar by GSTN on filing of appeal by taxpayers. We apologize for a short delay because we had some technical glitches here in the beginning. So I'm sorry for starting the webinar a little bit late, but we'll make up for the time. So we'll start with today's webinar on filing an appeal by taxpayers. They use a form called GST APL 01. So I am Sanjay Kumar Sharma. I am working as Assistant Vice President in GSTA, and I'll take you through the webinar now. Before we start the webinar, I wanted to inform you that my colleagues have joined me on this webinar. So they'll be answering to your queries. So please feel free to post your queries related to today's subject in the chat box, and we'll try and answer all your queries during the course of the webinar. So basically, in this today's webinar, we'll cover 2 points. One is what is an appeal which is to be filed by taxpayers? What are the general principles or general laws or rules which relate to filing of appeal by taxpayers on the portal? And what is the actual process of filing the appeal on the portal? So let's start today's webinar. The first part is some very, very general and basic points about filing of an appeal by the taxpayers. Now, in which cases a taxpayer would be filing an appeal? Now, in case an order has been passed by an adjudicating authority and the taxpayer is aggrieved by that order, he or she is free to file an appeal against that order. It has to be filed within 3 months from the date on which the order is communicated to the taxpayer. So if the order is passed by an adjudicating authority today, it becomes available on the dashboard of the taxpayer on the same day, and he or she is required to file the appeal within 3 months from the date of order, because making it available on the dashboard is treated as a communication of order. Now, for some reason, in case you're delayed in filing an appeal, there is a provision to condone the delay of up to 1 month, provided you can show a sufficient cause to the authority that you have been prevented from filing the appeal within the prescribed time. Now, in all the cases where an order is to be passed by the appellate authority, you would be given an opportunity of being heard and putting across your grounds. So that is one. And you can also choose for a personal hearing to be given to you, an opportunity of being heard personally to be given to you while filing the appeal. There is an option there of selecting the personal hearing. And for some reason, if after the date for personal hearing is fixed and you're not able to appear on that particular date, you can actually seek an adjournment if required. So these are the basics. Now let's look at what are the functionalities available on the portal module wise. So in which module, in which cases you will be able to file an appeal. So let's take first the case of registration. Now there could be a case of rejection of an application which you have filed for registration, or you have filed an application for core amendment in the registration, or you have filed for cancellation of your registration. In all these cases, if there is an order by adjudicating authority which rejects your application, you can go in appeal. Now there is another case where the taxpayer may get cancelled suo motu by the tax officer, and here also the taxpayer has an option to file an appeal after the order is passed. You will need to differentiate here that in case if the cancellation order is passed based on the application filed by the taxpayer, in such cases the option of appeal is not provided. It is only when the suo motu cancellation is done by the tax officer that an option of filing an appeal is provided. Now, for enrollment of GST Practitioner, if that application has been rejected, then also you can file an appeal. Now, if your registration is a tax deductor at source or tax collector at source, if that is passed, you can also file an appeal against that order. And in case you are opting in the composition scheme, I'm sorry, you know that every year, in the beginning of the year, you have an option to opt in for composition scheme provided you are eligible for it, or you can opt out of the composition scheme at any point of time during the year. Now, in case the order is passed rejecting your request for this, then also you have an option of filing an appeal. Now let's go to the assessment. Now assessment orders can be filed under different sections. So there could be an assessment order for non-filer of returns, unregistered persons, or in summary assessment cases. These orders are passed respectively in section 62, 63, and 64. There could be a demand order under section 125. There could be a demand order for tax short paid or not paid by the taxpayer, refund erroneously claimed, wrongful availment of ITC. Now, these three cases could be acted upon by the tax officer under two sections. One is section 73, where there is a case of no willful suppression of fraud, inadvertent kind of, and the other one is on account of fraud, suppression or misrepresentation of facts, which is under section 74. So these are the orders against which an appeal can be filed. And the other one is tax collected but not paid to the government, which is covered under section 76 of the CGST Act. There also you are able to file an appeal. The other one is if any of these cases are remanded back to the adjudicating authority, then also you can file an appeal in those cases. Now, section 161 of the CGST Act also permits rectification of demand orders. So in case there is a demand order which is adverse to the taxpayer, you will be able to file an appeal in these cases also. Now, the next is enforcement cases. The first one would be the order of demand of penalty. Now, an order of demand of penalty is generally issued under section 129. So that is one case where you can file an appeal. The other one is order of confiscation of goods and conveyance and demand of fine and penalty, which is covered under section 130. There also you can file an appeal, and any rectification in these orders. So these orders are passed in form MOV 9 and MOV 11 respectively. So if these are rectified, then also you can file an appeal. In cases of refund, there are two cases where you can file an appeal. One is in case your claim for refund is either partially or completely rejected. Now, a tax officer will generally pass an order in form RFD 06, either partially rejecting or completely rejecting your claim for refund. So that is one case where you can file an appeal. The other one is when you file a letter of undertaking, there is a form called RFD 11, wherein you request for permitting export of goods or services without payment of tax. That is normally called as letter of undertaking. In case that LUT is rejected by the tax officer, there also you can file an appeal. Now, what happens once you file an appeal? Once an appeal is filed by a taxpayer, an email and SMS is sent to the taxpayer and the appellate authority, and a provisional acknowledgement is also generated by the system. Now, after you have submitted the certified copy of the order along with supporting documents physically to the appellate authority within 7 days of electronic filing, then the filing of appeal is treated as final, and a final acknowledgement order will be issued by the department. Now, let's be clear that in today's webinar, we are only covering appeals which are filed before the first appellate authority by the taxpayers. We are not taking into consideration the other scenarios like filing an appeal before the High Court or Supreme Court. Now, in certain demand cases, you will be also required to pre-deposit some amount before your appeal can be entertained by the concerned competent authority. So first and foremost, any amount of tax, interest, fine, fee or penalty which is admitted has to be paid in full. So that is one part. The second part is it also needs for you to pre-deposit certain amount, which could be, if it is an amount of tax or cess in an assessment demand case, then you are required to deposit 10% of that amount as a pre-deposit. The other one is in transit enforcement cases, that is action under section 129, you are required to pay 25% of the penalty which is levied. So this is a pre-deposit in either of these cases, whatever it is, you will be required to pre-deposit it, and your appeal will go forward. Now the important thing is you don't need to make a specific separate prayer for staying the recovery of balance amount. The moment your appeal is filed, automatically recovery of the balance amount is stayed. Now let's look at how the process of filing of an appeal is to be done on the portal. So the process is fairly standard, but then based on the kind of application that you are filing, there may be certain variations at a later stage which we'll cover and which I will explain to you as we go along. So you are required to log in on the portal, click on the services, then select user services, and then select my applications as you can see here. Now, when this application page is displayed, there is a box for application type. So there you will be required to select appeal to appellate authority. And you will have to click on new application link. Now here appeal to appellate authority page will be displayed. As you can see, GST APL 01 appeal to appellate authority, this page gets displayed, where you are required to select the order type and order number. So as you can see here, you have all the categories which we discussed earlier. You have an enforcement case against which you may be filing an appeal. It could be a case of assessment demand order. It could be a case of registration order. It could be a case of refund order. It could be a case of assessment non-demand order or a case of LUT. So you will select the order type, and order number also needs to be entered by you. And then you need to click on search. These fields are vacant here, but you will have to fill up before you click on search. And the order which is available on the portal, that page will get displayed as you can see here. Now, one important thing is there could be a case where an order has been passed and already some rectification proceedings have already been initiated in that case. So in such cases, you will have to wait for the rectification process to be completed, and then also you will be able to file an appeal only against the rectification order, not against the original order. So that's an important thing which you should keep in mind. Then you'll be required to select the category of case under dispute. So there is a drop down list provided here, and this drop down is very comprehensive. It contains all the scenarios. So you can select more than one category also. So once you click on the drop down here and this list gets displayed, you can select one category, whichever you want, and click on add. Now you want to add one more category, you'll have to again select, go to the drop down, select one more category, and then again click on add. And then all these categories will get displayed in a tabular form, as you can see here. Now, in case you've selected a category by mistake, then you can also delete it and again go back and select a different category if required. Now, these details like date of communication and date of period of dispute, these are displayed automatically because they are flowing from the order itself. So this need not be entered by the taxpayer. Now, an important thing, while filing an appeal, you're also required to upload an annexure, which is annexure to GST APL 01. For that, there is a prescribed template which is provided on the portal itself. As you can see, there is a link here, appeal here. Sorry, yeah. So, and once you click here, you can actually download the template, and then you can enter the details. As you can see here, you will have to click on enable editing. I'll show you in a bigger font. So this is annexure to form GST APL 01. which is appeal to appellate authority. Now, brief issue of the case under dispute, description, classification of goods and services, market value. Now here you have an option to select whether the appellant wishes to be heard in person, yes or no. You can select yes or no. And then in case you are filing it after 3 months from the date of communication of order, then you can also give reason why it was delayed, which may or may not be accepted by the appellate authority. So these options will be available in the annexure. Now, important thing, this has to be saved in PDF on the system, and you will be required to upload it later so that the process of filing is taken forward. So this is what it is. You can upload the once you've entered all the details, created a PDF, saved it on the system, you'll have to upload it, and then it will be shown to you after upload like this. It's a case where you are disputing certain amount, and there could be a case which is in demand cases, of course, where you can dispute an amount, and there may be a requirement of pre-deposit also. So you have to click on disputed amount payment details button. Now see, there appeal. So in case it's a case of, say, a registration, mostly it will be a non-demand case. So there you don't need to go to this portion. You don't need to click on disputed amount and payment details. It is only where you are disputing an amount and you're also amount that you need to click on this button. So for demo purposes, because it's much more comprehensive, we have taken the case of an assessment demand case, which we'll see briefly how it is to be worked upon. So once you clicked on the disputed amount payment details button, this is what opens up before you. And there are different sections in this table. There are five different tables here, and each requires some information. Some data may. So we'll see in each section in more detail now. The first section is amount under dispute. Now this is a user entry field. You need to enter the details. It cannot exceed the amount of demand created. So that is understood. Now, once you've entered the details, the amount will get totaled up, and if you scroll right, you can see the total amount which is being disputed by you. Now the second section is amount of demand created and admitted. Now here, the first part is amount of demand created, which is flowing from the order, and amount of demand admitted, which is a user entry field. As we said, whatever demand is admitted has to be paid upfront before filing the appeal. And here you have both the options. You can either pay 10% of the tax or cess, or 25% of the penalty under section 129. This functionality has been recently implemented, the 25% thing, after the changes were made in the law. And then once you've entered all the details, you can scroll right and you can see the total amount of demand created and admitted in two different places, as highlighted here. Now, the next section is where you will be required to select the details of payment which are required. So in case it says CGST or SGST, you don't have to enter too many details, but in case you select on integrated tax, as you can see, this this is actually hyperlinked. And if you click on this, in case you're disputing IGST, you will be required to enter the place of supply wise details. So you can enter the place of supply and you can enter the disputed amount in front of that place. And you can add also. So in case you need to add more than one place of supply, you can click on add and you can add more places. Now you will be, in case you are required to pre-deposit, some amount before the appeal can be filed, there are two options. One is from the ITC and one is from the cash. Now, generally speaking, as per law, ITC can be used only for pre-deposit of tax amounts. And there also the general principle that IGST can be used for payment of both CGST and SGST disputed amount. But SGST can only be used for SGST and CGST can only be used for CGST. So that is applicable here also. For any other kind of pre-deposit, you will be required to use your cash ledger. So there is a common button, utilize ITC/cash, which you can see down below. Now, once you click on this, the balances which are available, as well as the liability which has been created after you have admitted the amount and you have disputed the amount, and in case there is a pre-deposit required, all these data will get pre-populated in the liability, cash ledger balance, and credit ledger balance details. So as you can see, the first table refers to the liability, the second one cash ledger balance, and the third is credit ledger balance. The liability which is on date, which is admitted by you, is shown here. It will include both which is admitted and the pre-deposit amounts. The availability of cash is the second part, and you can scroll right to enter the amount to be paid through cash against the liability. As you can see here, you can enter the amount here. So ITC is the next one. The available balance is shown here. And again, you can scroll right to enter the liability that you want to discharge using the ITC. As we already explained, ITC can only be adjusted against the ITC tax liability. So once you've entered all the amounts, you need to click on set off. And you will get a confirmation message like this, that you are utilizing cash of such and such amount and ITC of such and such amount for payment of your liability. This amount cannot be reversed. Do you want to proceed? So if you click on OK, you will get a confirmation that the payment is successful. You will also get a payment reference ID, which is shown here, and the success message. Now, the next part, another part which remains is, you've already filled up the annexure to APL01, you uploaded that. You have also made the pre-deposit, you have entered all the details of disputed amount. The third part is uploading the supporting documents. So here you are allowed to upload PDF and JPEG formats. Up to 4 supporting documents can be uploaded. The size of each document can be up to 5 MB. And in case you still have some more documents which you need to make a part of your appeal, you will be required to give them in physical form. So it is not that when submitting the physical copy to the appellate authority for final acknowledgement to be issued, you are only restricted from giving these documents. Any additional documents can also be handed over later on. And this is for the add document. And you can upload different set of documents. Up to 4 documents can be uploaded. Now, in case by mistake you upload a wrong document, you can also delete it. The delete button is here. You have an option to preview the application before filing it. So there is a preview button, as you can see, and all the details which have been entered by you, the complete application which you have prepared, can be previewed by you. You can also download this application in PDF. You can actually download the PDF and verify all the details, whether they are correctly entered or not, and then go forward to proceed to file. Now here, this application needs to be signed by an authorized signatory. So the name of the authorized signatory details have to be selected. The place from where the application is being filed, also there is a field for that. That also needs to be entered. And then you can click on proceed to file button. And it can be submitted either with the DSC or with an EVC. After that, as we told earlier, You will also get a provisional acknowledgement. You will get a confirmation that it has been uploaded on the portal, and then you are required to go with the physical copies to the appellate authority and submit them. So with that, we have come to the end of today's webinar. I hope it was informative and useful for you. Before we close the session, I want to tell you that we are on Facebook. All the webinars that we do, plus some more videos that we prepare for taxpayer awareness, they are available on the YouTube channel. We have a dedicated YouTube channel with a good number of followership. We are also available on Twitter, on which you can post queries to us. So with this, we'll come to an end of the webinar. I thank you all for participating and being a part of this webinar today. I would also like to thank all my colleagues, CEO GSTN and other officers of the GSTN who inspired us to conduct this webinar. Thanks a lot. Jai Hind.